I can't even do this by myself. Okay, welcome to Monday Night Therapy. There's a game on. It's 84 to 74, 155 left. I don't see any way of LSU winning this game. Yes, I was watching this basketball game because I wanted to see a lot more smack talk than was happening, and there was almost nothing. And I was kind of disappointed. I think it was a good game in the first half. Iowa started lights out. LSU came roaring back, and then I think Angel Reese went out of bounds on that play, and I just think it took some life out of LSU. And I wanted more like in your face. All I got was who was it? Casey Martin swearing to God she'd been murdered 2 or 3 times. And Aaron Keene says all the smack talk was in chat. You have chosen unwisely. Well, I'm sorry. There was sports ball on, and I like sports ball. These tournaments, the men and women's tournament thing they do at the end of the season. They've been as exciting as I think I can ever remember. I mean, the women's tournament has certainly been fun to watch. Tiger Shark Diver says, John, stop watching the Iowa game. We have corn husking to tend to. I actually did. I prepared some stuff and I wanted to make some comments about the tourney. One of the things that happened was, let's see if we got this right. I'll show you this.
Balance does a great job of initiating and taking the contact.
You'll see that. Let me see.
Balance does a great job of initiating and taking the contact.
Are clearly saying, shut the fuck up on national television. And people went nuts over this. They went insane. They were like, oh my God, somebody was like, that's not a good role model. And then people were like, oh, you didn't have to be a role model. And then blah, blah, blah. And then there was that. And then this happened in the men's tourney. I don't know if you saw it.
Zach, an unbelievable performance by this team, but by you specifically. What was your mentality in this game?
They thought they knew us, man. They thought they knew we had in our hearts. I promise you they did. We're fucking winners. That's what we do.
Zach Edey on national television says we're fucking winners. So you get this progression from the horrible role model that Caitlin Clark is to Zach Edey, both using the F word. And then what happens later? What happens later is John can't find his graphic. What happens later in the NC State Duke game? This happens. A little kid flipping off the official because they didn't call goaltending, I think it was. You see what's happening to America right there. You can see the clear progression from evil Caitlin Clark saying the F word to pushing Zach Edey, the manly, the wholesome guy he is, and now it's affecting the children for God's sake. So there you go. That's my comment. That's my comment about the tournament up to date. I don't know how to. I should go back and take that graphic off, or we're going to be stuck with that the rest of the show. Dylan's going to join me later to talk about wrestling because I want to know from him what happened at the end of the wrestling season because Nebraska went into the wrestling tournament in really good position and they finished ninth and they finished behind Iowa, and I don't like that. When we find when we finish behind Iowa in any sport, I don't like it. Or behind Minnesota for that matter. What else happened recently? 88 to 75, Iowa, 59 seconds left. I am not watching the game. I have stats broadcast up. It's for, the stats for media people. And so that I'm not getting distracted. Let's see, what's next? There was a story, since we have some corn husking to do. There was a story, I think it was KETV, that had the story about they went and did a Freedom of Information Act request for texts between Trev Alberts and Governor Pellin in the border regions. And I noticed that like Damon Benning and Ravi, they talked about that this morning. And I just so anybody asks, I don't care. I really don't care what the texts say. I didn't read any of that. I think I saw some of our guys reference them in Slack, but whatever. Trev Alberts is gone. You know what the good thing about Trev Alberts being gone is? What's good is Nebraska baseball is ranked. Nebraska is ranked for, let's see, they're ranked number 24 in D1 baseball for the first time since June 2021. They're number 22 in Baseball America, number 23 in USA Today. They've won 10 straight. They lost the game the day that Trev Alberts left, but they have won 10 straight without him here. So as far as I can go, as far as I'm concerned, that son of a bitch can just stay the hell away from all our programs, and we just keep winning. James Boardman says those texts read like an abusive husband begging his wife not to leave. See this? So baseball's at the top of the Big Ten standings. I mean, it's early in the season, but they swept Northwestern this last weekend, and that's a good thing. Their RPI is at 11. I discussed with Aaron. I didn't think that people would rank us because, quite frankly, I think that they have a Big Ten bias, and I don't blame the like Kendall Rogers is one of the guys from D1 baseball that is very, very good at what he does. I don't think those guys have much respect for Big Ten baseball, but I don't think the Big Ten has a lot of respect for its conference baseball either. So, after following Big Ten baseball since we've been in the conference, I hope some of the teams have done much better. Well, most of the teams have done much better at making Big Ten baseball a thing. The conference, I'm still waiting. Vince Watson, when is Todd going to tell us how heartbroken he is over Trev leaving? I don't know if he is. Let's see. And Aaron I got it right one time. Aaron says, and we get those Creighton fuckers tomorrow. Creighton is apparently very good at baseball too. I don't know what their record is because I got keyed into this basketball game and I wasn't mentally prepared to come on here, and I'm slowly moving into it. I do have notes though. So you guys have made a lot of comments. It's nice that you guys can establish a community and have a chat without me and everything like that. Aaron Keene says, I've seen therapy. It looks nothing like this. David Matney says, did Trev take Todd with him? He may have. He may have. That's true. Although I don't think Todd would go to Texas. James Boardman says, okay, Husker Chuck, we'll do this. Creighton is 20-4, and Nebraska is 20-5. So this is going to be a big midweek game coming up. The stats thing hasn't changed much. I'm guessing they're calling timeouts after timeouts. One of the things I have to learn about doing this by myself is actually slowing down a little bit and slowing down a little bit. Taking cleansing breaths now and then. Okay. 10 minutes into it, I've used up all my notes. One of the things that Fred Sacco says, this isn't therapy because you're all not reading because we careless to me. Is that what they do in therapy, in real therapy? Eesh. Okay. David Matney says, I was just starting to accept Trev's betrayal. You know what? I didn't take me long to get past it. Maybe that's because I'm a guy that just, when things happen, I just let them go. Like right away. Honestly, here's the thing with that. Part of that's from being a survivor and realizing you can't change anything, and that it's best to not worry about it because you can't do anything about it to change what's already happened. And then part of that is I've learned that from doing the reaction shows, especially after the 2021 season. I think it wasn't we the best 3-9 team in the nation. When I started doing those reaction things, I got it all out of my system at once, and I stopped being mad for 4 days at a time. So maybe that's healthy, David. You should just swear a lot. Go into your bathroom if you're having a really bad day. You don't even have to put a towel in your mouth and just swear a lot. It'll be fine. Dylan's already showed up. So, and honestly, Fred Sacco says, serious comment. I couldn't give two fucks about Trev's betrayal. I just like to mock it. He's gone. I didn't like him before, and I like him less now. No harm, no foul. That's a good attitude. I show 92 to 84, 26 seconds left, and Dylan is already here. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to flip over to Husker wrestling, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a recap on the end of the season. And one of the things I do need to do in the next like 2-3 weeks is get a new office chair, because if you'll notice when I do these damn shows, I bounce around a lot, and it's because this chair sucks. Okay. We are joined by Dylan Gunther. Hello, Dylan.
What's up, guys?
He is our Corn Nation wrestling writer, and he is the best wrestling writer on the face of planet Earth for college wrestling. Welcome, Dylan. We're going to talk about Nebraska wrestling.
Yeah, and I got my new office chair for it, too.
That's a good.
No, seriously.
Okay.
It's great.
God. Okay.
It's got massagers and heat in it.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Do that. I need something, because I think I picked this up off a curb a while back. They're literally there's chunks.
Oh yeah, you need one of these, dude.
Yeah.
For
okay.
Sure.
Nebraska wrestling. They
yes.
finished what? They were third in the Big Ten, right?
Yep.
They finished the Big Ten tournament third, behind Michigan, but ahead of Iowa, and that's always a key for me.
Yeah, me too.
They went into the Nationals and they finished 9th. So the question is what the hell happened there? I mean, I know that when you look at Huskers.com, they tried to play this up as we have more All-Americans than we ever have, but I wanted a number one, a top 5 finish. I think we should always be in the top 5 for wrestling, because.
Yeah, I agree. We had the team to do it.
So you can actually answer my question now, and I'll shut up. What happened?
Well, honestly, there's a lot of really good teams out there outside the Big Ten. So like I wrote, there was like 12 teams that could have finished second going into it. So, I mean, it was just a tough tournament. I think we got some pretty tough roads. We were a lot of hitting the 1 seed real early. But what happened is, number 1, Ridge Lovett was supposed to win, and he got 6th. And that's a lot of points lost. And then Lenny Pinto and Silas Allred were kind of expected to get on the podium, and they didn't. So, with those 3 guys kind of underperforming, if those guys would have all just done better, Nebraska would have found themselves probably in the 2 to 5 range. But, I mean, Penn State, I don't know if you saw that. Penn State beat the second-place team by 100.
Yeah, I did see that. Oh, my God.
Okay. Okay. Moon butt. There you go. I changed my mic. My mic input was set incorrectly, and it was set to my headphones instead of my actual desk mic, which it should have been. I should have noticed that before. Okay. So it's this. So there were a lot of disappointments from guys. Is this some kind of, I wouldn't say
it was really even that disappointing. I mean, this team is kind of a year away. Super young. I mean, they only had 1 senior. I think they did pretty well for where they kind of came in, but obviously you want the top 3 finish to get a team trophy. But I mean, there was also guys that Brock Hardy I don't know if you saw that Spladle. Did you see that online?
Yes.
Yeah, he came back after that and pinned the 4 seed and then beat Real Woods from Iowa, who had beat him 5 times. And he ended up getting third. So, like, I think he had the best tournament of anybody. And, you know, at 125, we had Caleb Smith. He got his first All-American finish ever. Antrell Taylor from Omaha, you know, he finished 8th as a freshman. I think there was a lot of good things that came from this year in this tournament. But like you said, like 9th place doesn't look good. I think a lot of it came down to just they didn't score a lot of bonus points. And when you have 5 All-Americans, you should be higher up in the on the finals thing. I mean, the only team that had more All-Americans in Nebraska was Penn State. We had the second most.
So what is an All-American? Explain that to people.
You finished in the top 8.
Okay.
So you finished in the top,
okay,
top 8, and then they assign point values to, you know, like first place gets 16 points, then it's 12, and then it's 10 and 9, and all the way down.
Okay.
So that's why that's what when you hear people are like, oh, he's a 3-time All-American. Like, yeah, he's went to the tournament and finished top 8 3 times.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That seems simple. I always think it's more complicated than that. I don't know why.
No, wrestling makes you earn the spot. They don't just name it in a magazine, you know.
Okay. They're young. The team.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of how young they are. They had 14 guys. They had 14 guys redshirting this year, and I think they have like 35 guys on the team. So like
that's a lot more wrestlers than I expected.
Yeah, they had 27 underclassmen and only 6 upperclassmen this year.
Okay. Oh boy, here I was all prepared to bitch about Mark Manning, and you've taken all that away.
No,
I know we both
did. Yeah, I think he did a great job with the kind of the team he had, and like, I mean, you know, Peyton Robb was the only senior, and you know, he kind of had a rough year, I think, based a lot on, you know, him getting that leg infection last year and having to deal with that all summer, and you know, a guy's been through 5 years of Big Ten wrestling kind of tends to wear you out.
So somebody asked, let's see, I did actually start coming. Vince Watson asked, does Nash wrestle next year?
No. He'll be getting ready for the draft.
I would think so too.
And the combine and stuff, yeah. I imagine, because I know when I talked to Manning, he said that, you know, the football team wanted him at like 315.
Yeah.
So he dropped 45 pounds and went to 285. But I don't imagine it'll be too hard for them to put that back on.
But wow, that's amazing. I guess the whole drop 45 pounds just because I have to or just because I can is just, that's amazing.
Yeah, in a month. Yeah.
It sounds dangerous. How the hell do they do that?
I mean, it's crazy what that dude did this year. I mean, he ended the year like 7-8, but you're in the Big Ten. He hadn't wrestled in 4 years. He ended up beating 2 guys he wasn't supposed to at Big Tens and made the tournament, which was just a huge accomplishment just getting there. And then his first match was against like a Greco world champion. So
I guess it's a good experience for. I don't know. Why did they do this? Let's be honest. Why did they do this?
I think Nash wanted to.
Okay.
First and foremost, I think he wanted to. I think they also kind of had a need at heavyweight. You know, we had a freshman in there, a redshirt freshman in there, but you know, he's good. He's gonna be good, but just it's hard at that weight early. But no, from everything I know, I'm pretty sure he just wanted to do it, and Manning was all on board with it.
Well, I guess it's probably it's a PR boost for wrestling.
Yeah, that too. I mean, look how many people came out to watch him wrestle Campbell, you know, or whatever it was or Wyoming when he got his first match, you know.
So in the next couple years, in the next couple years, with Mark Manning still around and these young guys, is there anything that anybody is going to do to take Penn State? I mean, it's just they had like 83 All-Americans and champions, and they kicked everybody's ass by the biggest margin ever.
Yeah.
Is there anything that anybody's going to do to stop that?
No.
So we need a scandal.
The real championship now is just to finish second.
Seriously, it's that much.
And like the way they recruit, and I don't know what it is about the coach Cale Sanderson there, but I mean, he's obviously one of the best to ever do it. But they got, I mean, you need horses, right?
Right.
And, every year in the recruiting classes, they can just pick out whoever they want, basically. I mean, it's kind of like Alabama was with football, however many,
Right.
3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they could just call up a 5-star and get him. I mean, it recruits itself.
I forgot because I was, I stopped paying attention to what I was doing and started paying attention to basketball. I had an article that came out today that one of the Penn State wrestlers is being sued. Did you see that?
No. Who was it?
He's being, I got to be careful so I don't close the wrong window here. Stariachi, you know how shitty I am. Yeah, he's being sued. He's being sued, I think, by Anheuser-Busch for calling himself, what was it? Big Natty or some damn thing.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that. I'll have to check it out.
Hold on, I'll get to it. I'm slow.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's been in the news a little bit lately.
Oh, for the
Burrows.
Talk about that. I didn't follow that at all.
Yeah, basically, Bo Nickel, who is a UFC fighter, and he used to wrestle for Penn State, he got all butthurt that Jordan Burroughs said that he would go after Starachi's knee in a wrestling match because it's hurt. Because he hurt his knee, but nobody knows what the injury is.
Right.
They're all hush hush about it, and he's going to be in the same bracket as Burroughs at the Olympic trials in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, Bo Nickel was saying that it was, unprofessional or whatever of Burroughs to say that, and he called him a fraud. And Bo Nickel, he was a 3-time champion in college. He didn't do anything in freestyle. He couldn't make a world team. He's in the UFC. He's kind of getting force-fed some like chumps on the way up. And I don't know. I think he's just trying to build his name a little bit off of Burroughs. But Carter Starachi came out and said that he was going to end Burroughs' career in 3 weeks.
Really? So they're trying to get the smack talk going.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so here's the headline from Onward State. Carter Starachi sued by Anheuser-Busch for copyright infringement over Natty Daddy nickname.
Oh my God. No, I didn't see that.
Apparently, Natural Light. It'll be, this month it'll be 4 years since I quit drinking. And the further away I get from alcohol, the less I remember about all the stupid nicknames and things. But, apparently Bud Light or Natural Light or who the hell, what did I say? Anheuser-Busch is suing. Yeah. So there you go. So we can all look forward to Jordan Burroughs and Starachi.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they'll even wrestle. I mean, first of all, Starachi has to get to him. They're going to be in the same bracket, but they're not going to be first match.
Right.
And Starachi is on one leg. Right. And the weight class, he's going to have to cut like 11 more pounds to get to. And I'm just skeptical with one leg. He can cut the weight and then be able to beat anybody. But maybe, I don't know. It's possible. But I definitely don't think he's going to beat Jordan Burroughs. Not even 36-year-old Jordan Burroughs.
So what else? Did we have anything else from wrestling?
No, pretty much just NCAAs. I mean, we got Olympic trials coming up. Obviously, we got 6 guys going to that already.
Okay.
Like former wrestlers. We got Olympic trials last chance qualifiers this weekend, where like the winner of each weight gets to go to the Olympic trials. And we have one of our recruits. He just got done taking a gray shirt, or he's taking a gray shirt right now. He's training in the Olympic Training Center in Colorado, and he's registered to wrestle on that to try to make the Olympic trials, which would be pretty crazy because he was like a U20 world bronze medalist. He's a true blue chip recruit. That he'll be good.
Okay.
His name's Camden McDaniel.
So we have a gob of guys sick. There's 35 people on the wrestling team.
Yeah, give or take at a time. Yeah.
I would have thought it was around 24, but it shows what I know. And we got guys coming in and we got guys coming up.
Yeah.
And next year we're not going to be finished behind Iowa.
God, I hope not, man. I didn't think it was going to happen this year. But I don't know, man.
Well,
you know, Iowa recruits and does their thing tue. So like, you never know. Iowa and Penn State are the only 2 teams we lost to this year in a duel. You know, like I said, all in all, it's pretty good. I think it was a pretty solid season. Like, not what you want, but they definitely didn't shit the bed. You know.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna move to football. Do you want to stick around and talk about football, or do you want to?
I'll stick around for a little bit and talk about football. I'm not super up to date, so I might not be super helpful, but yeah.
Okay. Well, at Coordination, what we're doing with football right now is it's spring football time, and we are going through position groups and looking at the roster. And what that does for us, what that does for me, and what it does for us is establish a list of articles that we can use for the rest of the year until we get to fall to talk about the football team. And so what we do is everybody signs up for different position groups. The articles have been out the past few days. Minis wrote the article, I think was today, on the offensive line. Right. I did 2 articles on the receivers and running backs. And here's the thing I'd say about them. You know, normally when you look at a season coming up, what you do is you look back. And, you know, I always say I'm not a guy to look back much. But one of the things that when you look back on the last season, the reason why you look back is this. Is you're looking back and you're going, okay, I'm going to look at returning production. Because returning production is a big measurement on how good you think your team's going to be this year. Okay?
Right.
You remember the 2023 football season?
Yeah, I try not to too much. Offensively, at least.
Yeah. What did we not do in 2023 on football?
Hold on to the ball?
Yeah, that was one thing. The other thing is we didn't really produce shit. I mean, we really our offense, we finished second in the Big Ten in rushing, which I honestly kind of look at and go, how in the hell did we ever do that? Because that's amazing. But the other thing is keep in mind, I just got done going through the running backs and wide receivers. And when you look back on returning production, our top receiver last year was Billy Kemp, 310 yards.
Right.
That's got to be somebody else's like 4th or 5th place receiver.
Well, that's so like our quarterback was our leading rusher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's not a good recipe, man.
But when you go back and you look at, when you go back and look, if you remember what happened to our team last year on offense, I mean, forget about the quarterback, but at the beginning of the season, we lost Isaiah Garcia Castaneda in the first game.
Right.
Season-ending injury against Minnesota. Then we lost like Marcus Washington. Then we kept losing guys on the receiving core. And by the end of the year, we're playing true. Malachi Coleman's out there a lot. Let's see. Thomas Fedoni ended up being our second leading receiver.
I like him.
What's that?
I said I like him.
Well, could be a star. And then the next one is the real potential star in 2024, and that is Jalen Lloyd. Guess at what he caught. What is it here? 6 catches. Well, I won't give you the yardage because you can do math in your head. Do you know what his average reception was? Length? How many yards?
13.
No.
I don't know.
39 yards.
Wow.
I mean, he didn't get the ball a lot, but I want you to imagine something. You remember 2 years ago, we had the Trey Palmer, Casey Thompson to Trey Palmer connection?
Right. Yeah.
I want you to imagine that in 2024, except replace the names with Dylan Raiola and Jalen Lloyd. Because if anybody could have gotten the ball to Jalen Lloyd the way that Casey Thompson got the ball to Trey Palmer, I really think that, 39 yards of reception, 3 touchdowns, didn't get a lot because we didn't produce a lot. Nobody could throw the guy the ball, for God's sakes. I mean,
right.
We spent as much time throwing to the other team as we did our own receivers. It felt like, but
so do you think it's a foregone conclusion that he starts?
That Dylan Raiola starts?
Yeah.
I think if you looked at every position on the team, well, that's not a good statement. I was going to make the bold statement, probably more than anybody else.
Or do you think
I think the offensive line is fair. I think they're fairly established. I think you're pretty, Bryce Benhart is going to be our right tackle. You know what I mean? Ben Scott's going to be the center. I give it like a 97% chance Dylan Raiola is our starting quarterback.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't see what the point of redshirting a kid like that is when you don't really have anything.
Now we have 3 scholarship quarterbacks,
right? And 2 of them are.
Not normally. I mean, you want to have I left this comment up here the whole time. Normally, you'd obviously want to have a veteran there, but I mean, everything you'd heard about Dylan Raiola is that he's styled, he's poised, he's got skills. He's, he went out and threw passes at pro day. Maybe Danny Kaelin can unseat him if he just plays his guts out. Maybe what they do is they have Dylan Raiola start at quarterback, and they have, I always say this and it never happens. Maybe they have packages for Heinrich Harburg to come in and like run, power or wildcat type stuff, or
even trick stuff with both of them on the field.
Aaron Keene asks, who starts at fullback? I'm guessing Janaron Banner. Oh my God, Bonner. This is the other reason why we do season previews in the spring, is because John can't pronounce names worth a damn. And I have to spend all spring I spend days and hours in my bathroom reading the lists.
It's a lot of names, John.
Huh?
So that's a lot of names.
It is. Especially this year, there's a lot of names.
Right.
Marcus Washington, we lost Marcus Washington last year early in the season. Josh Felix was a guy that was supposed to come in to receiver, and he ended up being a running back more than being a receiver.
And that was because we lost, 2 or 3 running backs before that.
Yeah.
So you got that on top of the wide receivers, and then you got you got your quarterbacks. I mean, say what you want about Sims, he was the starter. He went down.
Yeah.
We were on our 3rd quarterback by the end of the year. I mean, that's just, man, I don't know if it's just bad luck or what.
Lost Gabe Irvin to an injury, lost Ramir Johnson to an injury. Emmett Johnson got to step up. Again, it's just that just struck me, that whole going back to look at production thing and going, oh my God, this is just atrocious. This is horrifying. And then, because I tried to block out the last year's actual offense out of my head, because I have nightmares. What's that?
I said, just think about the defense, John.
Well, we haven't got the defense previews yet, so those aren't, that's what we have shows for, Dylan. We have to stretch them out, for God's sakes. We still have 3 weeks to go before the spring game. All right.
I mean, do you think this? Do you think the offense this year is just going to be completely different since they just basically had to make it nuts and bolts last year with all those guys? Or do you think?
I don't know if it's. I think that when you look back on there was a lot of bitching about Marcus Satterfield last year, but the honest to God truth is when you're missing that many players, you can't do a whole lot. If you have a quarterbacks that can't just basically throw basic pass patterns. Right. You can't do a whole lot with the offense. So I think I don't think the whole offense will be changed, but I think that they'll be. Yeah, I think that it'll look a lot different.
A lot more wide open, I imagine.
What the thing is last year, if you watch those games, we had receivers that were running all over the place. And, oh my God, John, you forgot to put your, okay. We have for a new running back, I think the big key is we have, Anthony Grant's gone.
Right.
And he was good. He was good at picking up yardage when there was nothing there. Although fumble guy, fumbled in the Minnesota game. Gabe Irvin, Ramir Johnson, both coming back after injuries. Emmett Johnson proved himself to be a pretty decent back last year, a guy that could do things.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked what he did.
Janaram Bonner's coming back as fullback. He did catch a touchdown. And then we have Dante Dowdle. Originally a 4-star recruit from Picayune, Mississippi. See, I can say that. What the hell? But I can't say Dowdle. I don't know why. What the hell? Spent his first season at Oregon where he played in 6 games, gaining 90 yards on 17 carries for 5.3 yards per carry. Big size back, 6'2", 215 pounds. So he's an addition to the running back core. And I think that, I think you got to look at the group on offense and feel pretty good about, what they got coming in. I should find my own receiver article and I'm not finding it. My God.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a situation though, where I don't know if we have any somebody who's above the field at wide receiver or running back. I think it might be kind of group effort, committee style stuff. But
okay, on the receiver side, we have returning Malachi Coleman, Jalen Lloyd, Jaden Doss. Alex Bullock actually was second or what was he? He ranked 3rd in receptions last year. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda comes back. And then we have a bunch of guys like Roman Mangini, Cooper Hausman, Tavion Thompson, Demetrius Bell, Elliott Brown. And then incoming, we have Devon Hall and Isaiah McMorris, both from Bellevue West. They're highly ranked receivers that we wanted from Nebraska. Right. And then we have this guy. We have a crap ton of guys coming in. Ja'Cory Barney, 2024 recruit from Miami Palmetto High School, where he played quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. So he could just be a quarterback in an instant. Right. If we get too many. Quinn Clark, recruit from Bozeman, 6'5", 190 pounds. Isaiah Nair, transferred from Texas, 6'2", 215 pounds. And then there's the guy from Wake Forest, Jamal Banks, 6'4", 205 pounds, has had 107 receptions for 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns while at Wake Forest. So yeah. I think that we certainly have options, put it that way. I mean, you have a lot of guys coming in and
wide receivers coach is going to earn his money this year.
Yeah, it's a gob of guys. And this is the time maybe those guys getting injured last year would be a blessing because the younger guys did get on the field. They did get experience. Their coaches can tell them, here's what you did wrong. Malachi Coleman, you have to start blocking. Fedoni probably was another guy that I think you could see his progression early in the year from later in the year where his blocking improved quite a bit. But I think in terms of just getting back into talking about football a little bit, I think that I don't know. I think, number one, you cannot look at the offense and be not excited because if you carry any like memory of whatsoever of what last season was,
Yeah,
you have to go, well, it can't be as crap hole as that. Okay. I should be looking at comments, and I haven't really been looking at comments. Vince Watson says, how far over are they? Oh, God. This is where I got to learn to slow down. How far over are they on scholarship numbers? Well, I don't think it really matters now. It'll matter when they come in the fall. And I think that they're going to make up with some of the scholarship numbers, with nil money, because Nebraska seems to be doing pretty well there.
right.
I don't know if nobody's talking about this, and it doesn't really seem to be a big concern. It's not coming up a lot in spring. So, I mean, it's not like anybody's really freaked out about it. So, I mean, if they're not freaking out about it, I'm probably not going to. And I haven't heard any scuttlebutt about, oh my God, they got to do something about this. So, there you go. I hope Fred Sacco says John's linguistic legerdemain is only outmatched by his rugged good looks. Oh my God. I don't know if that's a good thing. I had a conversation with somebody who was in neurology or is in neurology recently about aphasia. And I asked them, do you think I have a problem with aphasia? And we talked about it for a little bit, and they said, yes, you probably do. And I thought, good, that's nice to know. And now I can blame something for all this crappy speech stuff that comes up every once in a while. Okay. Vince Watson says scholarships are from the college. NIL is not. Everyone acts like the college is in control of NIL. That is true. They're not. If you'll remember when Troy Dannon came, our new athletic director, he talked about 1890 quite a bit, and that's our NIL collective. And I think I've said this before, say it again. I expect the NIL thing to be around about 3 more years before all of that stuff is brought into colleges, because student athletes are going to be ruled as employees. And when they're ruled as employees, all of that stuff is going to come in-house, and you're going to have, they're going to be employees. That guy that left us in College Station said that he expected it to cost colleges between $10 and $20 million a year to pay for student athlete employees. So I think that's what we're looking at, and NIL can then go away in a, you know what I mean? We won't call it NIL. Well, it'll be something different. There'll be employees. Do you see anything like that affecting wrestling at all?
I mean, like, you see it in the transfer portal from time to time, but at Nebraska, I don't know that NIL is a real big thing. I'm sure some of those guys get something, but I know that, like, when I talked to Coach Manning, he said that Caleb Smith, when he decided to transfer here, he passed up some NIL money at other places to come here. So I don't think they really do too much with the wrestling team with NIL. I think they should. I mean, I think some guys are pretty marketable. Like, I think Ridge Levitt's probably a marketable guy. They got a couple guys like that, an Antrell Taylor, who's like from Nebraska, I think could be. But yeah, it's not as big a deal. I mean, wrestling only has like 9.5 scholarships.
Right.
So like most guys just get partial scholarships anyway.
I did not know that either. There's 35 guys and there's 9.5 scholarships.
Yeah, like most of them will get partials, or like if somebody's really, really good, they'll offer them a full ride. Like there's a kid that's coming in this year from North Dakota who is he was a 5-time North Dakota State champion. He won it in 8th grade, and he's getting a full ride.
What? He won the state championship in 8th grade?
Yeah, he's a 5-time state champ. Yeah.
My God.
He won at 106 pounds in 8th grade, and as a senior he just won at 172.
That just seems,
it's wild. The kid's so good. He might start next year, but
at 106 pounds. Okay, that
106.
Okay. Wow. That just seems wild. Plus, I suppose wrestling is a smaller community, or it's just a smaller sport, isn't it? I mean, you don't have the
smaller people.
No, I mean it's a tight knit community full of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Even worldwide, unless you break out into professional wrestling. I'm showing my ignorance of the sport here. But I guess I wouldn't think that. Who are the wrestlers with giant social media followings? There are people that have already gone outside college wrestling and established themselves elsewhere, right?
I mean, usually the guys, unless you're like Jordan Burroughs, where he kind of broke the mold, because a lot of college wrestlers didn't go wrestle after college due to the fact they couldn't make money. So, they move on to get jobs in whatever degree they have, or they go get in a cage, and Burroughs kind of made it possible. That's why we're kind of seeing a resurgence of college guys getting into the senior level, because they see that they can make money, as whether it's through endorsements or camps, or if you go train at a training center, you get a stipend, you get paid. So I think it's becoming more so, but it's so far behind. And like I said, I mean, usually guys would maybe after college would try to make a world team or two, or an Olympic team. And if it didn't work out for them, then they would just move on.
But now, okay. So now they have that chance.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? 48 minutes. What else we got? Do we have anything else? I mean, I'm sure there's other things. You got a basketball tourney going on still. Wrestling has come to an end for the season, and baseball is ongoing. Softball is ongoing. Softball did have a great weekend. I think they ended up sweeping. Who'd they sweep? They swept their first weekend in Big Ten conference play as well.
I don't
know if we're going to go much. What's that?
Sorry, John. I can't help you too much there. I did used to cover the softball team when I was in college, though. Sat down with old Rhonda Ravel plenty of times.
Well, they have seemed to, Jordy Ball gets injured in the first game of the season, the first series of the season. And I think so many people stopped paying attention, and they struggled a little bit. But yeah, I guess when I look at them in baseball, I think about, okay, now we're in conference play, things start to count, because, the Big Ten takes softball a lot more serious than they do baseball. But I think if you're going to do things in baseball, you got to win your conference in the Big Ten. And I think Nebraska certainly has, they have a chance to do that this season. Aaron Keene says, didn't the Husker men's gymnastics team do something? And again, I think they won the Big Ten, did they not?
I don't know. I did see a headline about something, but I don't remember.
Oh, come on. We should know. I should be getting better prepared for these if we're going to go on like this. I do not. I think that Todd's probably done doing these things with me. Just so people have continued to ask, where's Todd? I think that Todd is no longer going to be doing the live shows. So here's how this is going to go. I'm probably going to do these by myself. And what I'm going to try to do is line up guests for a while. And we're just going to see how that goes for a while. I mean, one of the things I could do is spend the next week or two in my bathroom reading the names of all the football players repeatedly so I can actually pronounce them when the time comes. Minnie nominates Fred probably as a guest or as a sidekick. Maybe I'll test new sidekicks. We'll see what happens with that. John, Linda Wilkins says, John, did you get up to speed on the ladies bowling team? No, I did not. There's too many of these teams, and there's one.
Yeah, I used to write about them too. Oh, here, funny story. So the old bowling coach, Bill Straub, right?
Yeah.
He was the one, they won all those national titles and whatnot. When I was at the Daily Nebraska, and I bowled in high school, I was on the bowling team and stuff, right? And they were like, hey, we need somebody to go cover the bowling team. And I was the only one that said I would do it because nobody else knew what the hell they were talking about. So I went down to where they practice, and I got with the coach. We sat down in his office, and one of my first questions was just whatever, bowling specific, something about the oil pattern on the lane, right? And he was just he's like, you know what? Most people the Daily Nebraskan sends me doesn't even know there's oil on the lanes. He's like, this is nice.
So you got in good early on.
Yeah, I got in good. He liked the Daily Nebraskan that year. Yeah.
Okay, what I'm probably going to do for upcoming shows is I'm going to try to find people who are from other schools, like I've done with Ramsey, the guy from Ohio State. We interviewed, during the season last year, I tried to interview at least once a week, tried to interview somebody from our opponent. We have 4 teams joining the Big Ten this year. And if you'll notice, the Pac-12 played their last game ever when Arizona was beat by somebody, and that was it. That's the end of the Pac-12, which is kind of, I guess, sad. That's one of the reasons why I want to talk to some people from Oregon and Washington, and find out what their thoughts are having to go play football in Kinnick Field in Iowa.
Right.
Because in Nebraska, if you've been around enough, Nebraska's played Oregon, Nebraska's played Washington, USC over the years, and right. UCLA, and some of those people probably have some familiarity with Nebraska at least, but I can't remember Iowa playing any of those teams. Maybe they have, or Northwestern, maybe.
Not that I really recall. We've seen Arizona too, Arizona State in the past. But yeah, I don't know about Iowa. I try not to pay attention to them too much.
What? They're fun to hate on. Husker Chuck says Pac-12 still clinging to live via baseball and softball. Okay, that's true. All right. You know what? We're going to call it good for tonight. Still trying to figure out what we're going to do going forward. Thank you, Dylan, for joining me and talking about wrestling. And, we'll figure out what we're going to do going forward. I think I can only say that one more time. And there you go. And then I said this last week. I need to come up with an outro that isn't just goodbye, Dylan. You say goodbye. You know what I mean? An actual outro. Yeah. That's what I'm going to have to do. The other thing I need to do is I need to actually watch I did this. I did do this a little bit. I thought, how do other people, when they're doing a show by themselves, how do they do these things? And the problem with it is I watched Josh Pate. Do you know who that is?
No.
He late night kick with Josh. Josh Pate is a very well-known, he's YouTuber guy. He's pretty well known in college football circles. And I thought, well, I'll watch him and see how he does his show by himself. Okay, well, that guy's got a studio, for God's sakes. He can actually look around and move to different cameras. He has a production team. He's got that shit going on for him. And whenever I looked at anybody else, I was like, oh my God, most of these people have production.
So what you're saying is they don't do it by themselves.
No, well, yeah, they don't actually do it by themselves. They have full shit going on. Minnie says, I like Pate State. That is Josh Pate stuff. And he's built his own stuff, so that's pretty good.
Nice.
Husker Chuck says, thanks, John and Dylan. Todd. And there you go. Highlander Gun says, how about a roast night? You mean
Like
if we
roasting
were
people?
we roasted other teams? Is that what you're talking about? Fill me in on that, Highlander gun. Linda
Yeah.
Wilkins says you don't have a production team, John. No. Here's the thing with that, Linda. I'll just be honest with you. Dylan only works with me because he doesn't have to put up with me all the time. If he had to put up with me all the time, he'd go get a job with somebody else. This is one of the great reasons why I've been a consultant most of my career, is honest to God, because nobody should have to work with me all the time. Husker Chuck says roast Todd. We could do that. Let's see. Highlander Gun comes back and says roast a guest or teams. That's an interesting prospect. Yeah, we could. Fred Saka says, I will roast whoever you want. That guy's open for everything. Roger Moore says, roast Colorado. We're going to do that. And I don't know if this happened recently, but Deion Sanders was in he made Twitter news anyway, or in the sports news, by saying he doesn't do any in-home visits.
Really?
Because, yeah, he said, he didn't think that any recruit would want to actually have him in their home, because he remembered when he was young, he didn't want a coach to come over and see how poor they were. And I thought, that's not how it works these days. It's just like you're being lazy and expecting kids to just come to Colorado because you're Deion. They're just, Linda Wilkins comes back in and says, that is to say you don't play well with others. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, Linda, but I have a tendency to talk over everybody. Maybe Dylan's noticed that slightly.
No.
But I play very well with others. What I try to do in my real job is I always try to keep a sense of humor, because when I do not have a sense of humor, it's very bad. And I should stop now. Okay, we're gonna go.
All right.
See, how do we sign out? Good night, Dylan.
Good night, John.
There you go. Thanks, everybody. You know what? Thanks for the support. I know this has been a little haphazard and a little screwy, and the host can't talk worth a damn. But thank you again for all the support you give us. And there you go. Okay, good night, Dylan.
Appreciate it. Later.